Hello wrestling fans and welcome to the debut edition of the MPW Express. I am your host Mud Puppet Joel, and today we're going to talk about one of the hottest feuds going in Metro Pro Wrestling, the MPW Tag Team Champions Marvelous Action against the SCUMDOGS. Now before we get to the match, let's have a little backstory. It was last fall that Mike Marvel and Action Jackson, the team known as Marvelous Action, defeated Jamie Cox and Austin Mannix for those titles. In the time since, they have turned back all challengers. Interestingly enough, around that same time, the SCUMDOGS disappeared from the MPW scene. The weeks and months after that, Jonathan PRESLEY, their manager, kept dropping hints that he was training them in the wild to become more savage, more vicious, and ultimately more dangerous. More recently, he has been threatening to unleash them back upon Metro Pro Wrestling. And not 2 weeks ago, that's exactly what he did. Now, before the match could take place, a situation did arise with Action Jackson, one half of the tag team champions. He never made it to the arena. So, MPW Commissioner Big Bubba Luscious gave the decision to Mike Marvel, either forfeit the titles or defend them in a 2-on-1 handicap match. Being the champion that he is, Mike Marvel decided to fight.
Mike Marvel, you might be, you're wondering where Action Jackson is, right? I understand he had some problems in the parking lot before the show. He's off in the hospital.
Well, hello wrestling fans. Once again, you know us by now. I am Mud Puppet Joel, of course. Alongside me is Mud Puppet Ryan, and today we have, of course, Mike Marvel taking on the SCUMDOGS in a 2-on-1 handicap match. Ryan, what do you make of things?
Well, Joel, as we just heard from Jonathan PRESLEY, Mike Marvel is going to have to go it alone here. Action Jackson taken out in the parking lot. He's in the hospital, and that is why Mike Marvel had the choice, Joel. Go out there, defend your titles alone, or forfeit them. And gotta say, I gotta give Mike Marvel some credit. He went out here to defend his titles, but I don't like his chances.
No, you can't like his chances against two guys like Paul Bowser and Creep. Of course, Mike Marvel there in the white trunks, and that is Creep in the overalls. I gotta say though, I don't agree with the decision on the part of Big Bubba Luscious to put one of his champions in this position. Really an unfair situation.
And Joel, as we know, the pockets of Jonathan PRESLEY are incredibly deep.
So he says.
Some people have brought up the fact that we haven't seen the SCUMDOGS in 5 months.
Yeah.
How are they getting a title shot? Well, you gotta believe that Jonathan PRESLEY used that cash, used that endless supply of money that he claims to have to get his men in here, and maybe that money was enough to convince Big Bubba that this match had to go on.
It wouldn't surprise me. Big Bubba can be bought for cheap, probably a cheeseburger and a side of fries.
Oh, come on.
Creep there with what looks like a choke. And these SCUMDOGS, I've seen them in action plenty of times. I know you've seen them. They are callous. They do not care about the rules. And as we heard from our handsome host before the match, PRESLEY had them training in the wild, making them even more savage, more out of control. I don't think those guys needed that.
Well, you know, perhaps they didn't need to be more savage, but you look at them, and I think callous is a great word, Joel. These guys just don't care. Jonathan PRESLEY points them at an opponent, and like a good weapon, they go out there and they destroy. And you see the bigger member of the team, Paul Bowser here. Yeah. He is vicious. He uses his power, and you're not going to see technical wrestling from these guys. These guys kick. They punch, they bite, they scratch, they knock you upside the noggin, and I gotta say, I love it. SCUMDOGS are probably my favorite tag team on the indie scene right now.
Paul Bowser, a little unhinged, used to come to the ring barking. I think PRESLEY has reeled some of that in. I'll give Jonathan PRESLEY this. Mike Marvel is holding his own here, and he looks as if he may fly to the outside now. Marvel is the known aerialist, and here we go, right through the middle ropes with a suicide dive, takes out both of the SCUMDOGS. But yeah, I want to give Jonathan PRESLEY some credit. Prior to the SCUMDOGS, around a year and a half ago, he of course managed the Society of Savages, which was comprised at the time of Paul Bowser and the Caveman Tyler Elkins. PRESLEY does seem to have a track record of taking so-called wild men and domesticating them just enough, taming them just enough to harness their skills in the wrestling arena. And now Creep and Mike Marvel atop, looks like some of the inflatables they have there and they're bouncing off the walls.
It's a dangerous situation. These guys up high. Mike Marvel going to maybe go for a superplex.
Oh! The inflatable. Creep's just going to roll off there. Yeah, dangerous though with the window there to, I guess, an office there. One of them could put their heads out. Marvel off the top with a big splash puts the SCUMDOGS right back down. And Mike Marvel giving the SCUMDOGS all they can handle. And I have to say, if there is a drawback to the SCUMDOGS team, it is, I think, their intellect.
Well, yeah, Mike Marvel, he can definitely outsmart them. He's going to have to outfly them, and we've seen him trying to do that here with these dives and leaps. Throw Scum back in and going for a cover.
Count there by the official at 2, and Bowser breaks up the pin attempt.
But there is where the handicap stipulation comes in probably the most. He was trying to get that cover in before Bowser could get back in the ring. Didn't happen. Nice knee lift. Beautiful.
Yeah, and then this is the strength of the SCUMDOGS. Elbows, knees, fists, feet. Now Bowser with the chair. This is not a no disqualification matchup. Handicap match, yes. It is not a no DQ. And Bowser's going to swing for Marvel. Misses there. Another one. Drills the referee! Oh my goodness! He just belted the official. Marvel takes him out. And now Creep, though, right on him. But the referee... You gotta imagine when he comes to, the SCUMDOGS are gonna be disqualified.
It would certainly seem like it. He took that chair right to the forehead.
He could be out. He could be concussed. Paul Bowser is no small man, and nice suplex here by Creep. And he swung for the fences. Mike Marvel ducking, or else he'd be the one out on the mat right now. Instead, the official writhing in obvious pain.
Yeah, that chair shot was brutal, and it would have been instant disqualification had it hit Mike Marvel, but you have to believe that the SCUMDOGS' chances here are not long for the world if this referee recovers.
And now putting Marvel in a painful submission hold. I believe this is, yes, what they call the penguin drop, that top rope leg drop. And this is another thing I don't like about the way Big Bubba Luscious operates things. Here you have an obvious case of a disqualification, or a place where disqualification needs to happen. Your official is in no position. He's the man's injured out there right now.
Right.
Why is there not an official standing on hand to end this match immediately? This is about people's safety at this point. What is Paul Bowser doing now? He's instructing Creep to apparently distract the referee. I don't know what good that's going to do. You've already hit the man in the face with a chair. He's got a table. Paul Bowser has pulled a table from beneath the ring, Ryan. Like I say, in all my time covering Metro Pro Wrestling, I've never recall an instance where a table has come into play in this fashion. Yes, guys have brawled to the outside, maybe utilized a table and that. When we saw Jamie Cox throw Austin Mannix over a table once, but what the SCUMDOGS seem to be planning here is going well beyond that.
Well, Joel, and obviously Action Jackson was injured by the SCUMDOGS earlier in the day. It looks like they're going to try to do the same to Mike Marvel. I think their focus now is not on the title. Their focus now is on just hurting these guys and taking them out.
Well, if that's the case, it's not going to make Jonathan PRESLEY happy. Now, part of the prestige of being a manager is capturing championships. And right now, Creep on top of Bowser's shoulders, and Creep cinching in the neck of Mike Marvel. They're going to take him over for a superplex. Oh my God! Mike Marvel crashes through the table, and Creep, I believe, his head bouncing off the edge as well, perhaps doing just as much damage to himself. Paul Bowser no worse for the referee still down. A disqualification must be imminent. Not only has the man been drilled in the skull with a chair, he's going to see a shattered table with a prone Mike Marvel lying on top of it. Now Bowser going for the pin. This is why I'm saying these guys just aren't too bright. Vicious, yes. Callous, yes. The bell rings. The referee did not count a pin.
No,
Paul Bowser,
no.
and he thinks that I believe that they won the match.
And Mike Marvel took that fall through that table completely on his neck. He has got to be seriously hurt. That was vicious. These guys just don't care.
They don't care, and perhaps this was all part of the plan. Maybe setting the stage for down the road?
It's got to be, Joel, because you look at Mike Marvel, we know Action Jackson's hurt. Mike Marvel's got to be hurt.
Well, fans, we thank you for joining us for the inaugural edition of the MPW Express. Well, despite the valiant effort you just witnessed, Mike Marvel did fall victim to the numbers game. But, as he says next, he's not going to take it lying down. He had some strong words for the SCUMDOGS.
SCUMDOGS, this week, Action Jackson had an accident. Like, I'm really supposed to believe that? You guys put me through a table in a handicap match. It's all about these right here, the Metro Pro Wrestling Tag Team Championships. And I'm going to check on Action Jackson, see how he is. But if he is not better by next month, I will find another partner. I will find something. I will find someone. But regardless, next month at Metro Pro Wrestling, Mike Marvel and Action Jackson, we're going to hang on to the straps. Because when you come here to Metro Pro Wrestling, you're going to see marvelous action.
Whether it's Action Jackson or another partner, it is obvious Mike Marvel plans to see this feud to the end. But he wasn't the only one with some strong words after that match. Here's the brain trust of JP Investments, Jonathan PRESLEY himself.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you've seen tonight was a miscarriage of justice. 2-on-1, the SCUMDOGS versus Mike Marvel. They made the mistake of putting your hands on the referee. What's wrong with you?
Make sure no move, no swing in the chair.
You make my head hurt. Mike Marvel, it was all about business from the beginning, but now, it's personal. Oh, it's damn personal. We're coming after you next time. We're taking the belts. We might even take your life, so if you're prepared, get your little buddy out of the infirmary. Bring him down to Metro Pro Wrestling. Because we're coming for you. We ain't playing no games, son. We coming for you, boy. My name is Jonathan PRESLEY. I approve this message.
Mike Marvel! Action Jackson! You guys are going to!
Jonathan PRESLEY obviously fired up, and with the muscle he has now amassed in that stable, the SCUMDOGS, Bryce Sullivan, and MCWA heavyweight champion Mark Joka, this is not a faction to be taken lightly. They'll all be back in action April 27th at Bouncing Off the Walls in Wyandotte. On that night, it's going to be title turmoil. Now, if you have not been to an MPW show in a while, this is the perfect time to reintroduce yourself to the independent wrestling scene, because on that night, 5 champions are all going to defend their straps in matches against mystery opponents and with stipulations attached. The mystery opponents and stipulations will all be decided at random, providing a night of endless entertainment, unpredictable action. If you need more information, check the description below the video. Until then, I'm Mud Puppet Joel, and I'm out.